Hello there, I'm Alex Wallbank, creator of Cinematic Studio Strings. In this video I'm going to run through the main features in this powerful new library. The core philosophy behind CSS is that it's easy to use. With that in mind, you can select any articulation or option with the mouse or by using the default key switches on your keyboard, which are as follows. The long note articulations, i.e. sustain, tremolo, harmonic, and trills, all feature dynamic crossfades that are controlled via the mod wheel by default. The short note articulations, staccato, pizzicato, and measured tremolo, have dynamics that are modulated via velocity. Marcato's dynamics are modulated by a combination of both velocity and mod wheel. CC11 controls the master volume, and CC2 can be used to crossfade between vibrato and non-vibrato while using the sustain articulation. By holding Shift and clicking an articulation tile, or the legato or consordino switch, you can change their default key switch assignment. After Shift clicking, press the new desired key on your keyboard to complete the action. Whenever you trigger this function, the current key switch assignments will be displayed here for convenience. And if you want to reset to the default settings, you can click Reset All. You can free up some RAM by removing any unneeded articulations. Simply hold Alt and click on the appropriate tiles, and the memory usage meter will update accordingly. The articulation can be reloaded by simply clicking on it. CSS was recorded in multiple microphone distances to allow for flexibility in your mixing. Close for the precise details, main for a realistic conductor's perspective, and room mics to capture the full ambient sound of the recording space. By default, the mix microphone position will be loaded upon opening a patch. This is a balanced mix of all three distances and provides you with a full sound out of the box with no further mixing required. I recommend using this for most situations, but for times when you want to highlight a passage or try something different, you can easily activate the separate microphones by clicking the on-off switches below. This of course uses more RAM, but allows more experienced users and audio engineers to route each mic channel independently by clicking on the small triangle beneath each mic fader. Please see the links in the description for more info on how to set up Kontakt's multiple outputs feature. Another thing to note is the default positions of the faders for each patch, with -3 dB for close, -0 dB for main, and -4.5 dB for room. These were the settings used when we created the mix position, so it's a good idea to use this as a starting point when altering your mix. This area of the GUI will display special functions, depending on what articulation is currently selected. For example, if you select staccato, a 4-way short note switch appears, allowing you to use the mod wheel to switch between spiccato, staccatissimo, staccato, and sforzando. You can reassign this controller or remove it completely by right-clicking on the switch itself. A similar switch appears when pizzicato is selected, allowing you to select between standard plucks, Bartok snaps, and col legno. The spiccato overlay switch for marcato layers a spiccato sample on top of the beginning of each note, and the tempo sync function on the measured tremolo page allows syncing directly to your host or manual setting. And lastly, envelope controls will appear here whenever legato is disabled while using any of the long note articulations, i.e. sustain, harmonic, tremolo, and trills. This makes it easy to create pad-like chords. We created our own custom consordino effect that can be applied to the entire patch, allowing you to get that characteristic silky tone across all articulations. Simply turn it on via the key switch or by clicking on it. The config screen can be accessed via this cog icon here. Here you can change the CC assignment of the key switch CC, velocity and vibrato crossfades, master volume and portamento volume. Portamento velocity refers to the maximum velocity at which a portamento will trigger. It's set at 20 by default, as the idea is that pressing a key softly will trigger a portamento, but you may wish to change this depending on the sensitivity of your keyboard. The key switch CC can be used to trigger any function within the library. Simply move this CC to any of the following values to trigger the corresponding function. Choosing whether to use a key switch or the key switch CC is a matter of personal preference. Key switches are a little quicker to use in the heat of the moment, but the key switch CC doesn't get affected when transposing parts to another key, and you can generally skip around your track more freely, as most sequences include the option to chase the MIDI events and trigger all the appropriate articulations and functions from wherever you press play. The last thing to cover is that several of the key switches are velocity sensitive. This means the velocity at which you press the key switch itself determines its action. Take the legato key switch for example, which is A# 0 by default. When you press this key switch lightly, at any velocity between 0 and 64, it will switch legato off. Pressing it a bit harder, at a velocity of anywhere between 65 and 127, will switch it on. The same applies to the consordino key switch. A similar system is also used for the sustain, staccato, pizzicato, and marcato articulation key switches. For example, the velocity at which you press the staccato key switch will determine which of the 4 short note types is selected. Okay, thanks for watching. To download the MIDI file for the material seen in this video, please click the link below, and feel free to email us if you have any questions about the library. Cheers, see you next time.